Hi, this is the third in the series of food etiquette. This is about getting a dog to leave and back up from food so I can then remove it. And this doesn't have to be food, this can be anything that you need access to. But we're doing food, but you can spill this into other areas. And I always have a dog back away when I want access to food. Again, it's all about safety, no matter how much you trust these dogs. Like I said, I can walk up to any of these dogs and take a full meaty bone out of their mouth without a word, or have them simply release it and walk away from it. But I still make a dog back away from anything that I'm about to approach and take, just for a safety thing. It makes it better on these guys because they're further away, so it reduces risks there, it reduces stresses and so forth. And like I said, it just makes it safer. And how does that look? It looks something like this, and one of the reasons I'm using Tenchi in this is to show that if you have more than one dog, every single dog must go through this training. I could just bring Koji out and run him through this and people go, oh yeah, that's really good. But you've got to understand that if I've got 2 dogs, 3 dogs, 5 dogs, 10 dogs, 20 dogs, every single dog has to have time taken to be taught this. It is no point teaching one dog and not the others, because you won't solve anything. Because that one dog may do it, but the others won't, and they're going to end up fighting, or somebody's going to end up getting bitten anyway. And when one dog sees that it's all right for another dog to do something, they begin to do it too. So, every single dog must be taught the same things. Alright, so otherwise you're just wasting time. So take the time, every dog. So it looks something like this. Tenchi, take, wait, back up. Tenchi, back up one more. Good. Tenchi, take. Tenchi, leave, back up 2. Yes, go, take. Tenchi, take. Tenchi, leave. Tenchi, back. Quickly. Back up. Good. Tenchi, take. Tenchi, take. Yes. Tenchi, leave. Back up. Back. Quickly. Back right up. Yes. Back again. Alright, so you should be able to have a dog leave food, back up, take it, leave, wait, all those things without any issues at all. The dog shouldn't be getting aggressive about it. He hasn't even had breakfast. Good. And you should be able to do all of this, come in between his food, and not have any aggression issues or anything like that. So, how do you do it? So first of all, we've gone through the first 2, and the dogs are doing them 100%. Otherwise, we shouldn't be at this point anyway. Never move forward until your dog is 100% at the previous one, because you're just running risks that you shouldn't be running, and the dog's just not ready. So from here, we've got 100% that the dog understands the trade game. We've got 100% the dog knows to sit, be calm, wait for a command. Alright, and then that's all we do. We bring the dog here, again on lead and collar, because we need control of this dog. Later on, as you can see, they don't need lead and collar, but up to that point, until they can do that, they need lead and collar. So, I get the dog to take just like usual. Tenchi, take. And then I begin to get it to leave. Tenchi, leave. Just that little gentle tug. Good. Now, what you should be doing is beginning to teach the dog to leave all the way through from day one anyway. It's an essential command. It's a lifesaver command. And if you are teaching the dog to leave, that makes that easier. But if you haven't, you can still do it this way. This is just gentle, just to get the attention away from the food. I've got to break distraction of the food and get focused back to listen to me. And if he doesn't know leave, you're going to have to then guide him back off the food and then mark that. Okay? You can't sit there and crank on this or get stuck into him or yell at him or anything else if he keeps gobbling, because if he doesn't understand leave, you can't correct something a dog doesn't understand. You need to teach them, you need to guide them, you need to show them. Alright, so again we get the dog to take. And then we just bring the dog off. The double tap, the name, double tap, the guide away if they don't understand leave, Tenchi, leave, and I just bring him back. And if he doesn't do the auto sit, I help him into it. Again, all this is going to be new, all this is a distraction. So slow, easy, calm. Alright? So once I've got the dog doing that all the time, I move on to the next step, and that's to get him back. I just want him back a little bit so there's a little bit more room here for safety, for me to remove that bolt. So if something goes wrong, I've got more time to react. So to do that from the sit position, all I do is just very gently just begin to pull that back. Yes. And the moment he goes to lift up to take that pressure off, I mark that with a yes. So the moment he goes there, you can just start to see, if you're watching, there, he begins to get uncomfortable and lift that back end to rebalance. I mark that. Yes. And then he comes back. Good. Now he might not come back that much because Tenchi understands what I'm making him do, so he'll go back further. But some dogs will, they'll just jump straight back. Alright? Once they start getting the hang of that, again, I mark it with a command. Back, yes. Good boy. And I mark that. And I take. Tenchi leave. Yes. I mark it. Tenchi back. Yes. Good. Wait for the auto set. Again, I mark that. So I'm letting him know exactly what I want. Tenchi, take. Yes. Tenchi, leave. Yes. Back. 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 Yes. Alright, and that's how it is. And it's just done nice and gently, nice and calmly. I'm not correcting him. If he knows leave, or I've got him back and he knows that he's supposed to, sit, and he is already sitting, and then he goes for that food, then I do the usual corrections, a little double tap just to get his attention, and a correction sound, which will bring him back into position. If it doesn't, just guide him back into position. So you can correct anything like that. It's gentle, it's not hard, and you can correct anything the dog understands and knows but isn't doing because the distraction or stimulation or whatever is getting the better of them. You cannot correct something they don't know. So if he doesn't know leave, and I go leave, and he still gobbles a little bit, I can't correct him for that. I have to teach him what it means. So I just keep gently bringing him away and mark when he comes away. Right? The other way you can get a dog to go back is Tenchi, take. Tenchi, leave. Is once he sits back, is I very carefully walk in front of the food. Yes. And I just walk into the dog a little bit. So I just crowd the dog, yes. And I use this just to come back a little bit. And the dog will come back to give space. Again, you need to know this dog. You wouldn't want to do this to a dog that's aggressive or a little bit anxious around the food. Personally, I prefer this, the same way as you would teach back up. Tenchi, stand. Back up where you've got him near a wall. Back up, back up, back up. And you teach that. Tenchi, back up, back up. So you teach this whole back up thing. Good. And that's how I prefer to do it. But there is this way of doing it here where you get here and the dog will back away from you. But if you've got a very strong-willed dog, which this guy is, they'll hold there and until there's, they've got to go back anyway. If you've got an aggressive dog, you might get bitten. And if you've got a timid dog, it does create more anxiety. So I don't particularly like that way, but it is a way. I prefer to be just here beside them. Alright, so I hope that helps. Again, everything should be done with calmness. All interactions should be calm. Consistency is the key. You must be consistent, consistent, consistent. You can basically feed the dogs 5 or 6 times a day by simply breaking up in smaller amounts and do it through the day if you've got time. And the dog still gets the required amount of food, but he gets a lot more training at this. But again, start slow and build it. because if the dog doesn't understand it, it's going to be very difficult to get the dog in one meal to leave it 20 times. You're asking a lot. So just a few times each meal, and like I said, you can break it up and have multiple meals over the day. But like I said, consistency, patience, calmness, respect, trust and love is what makes this work. No domination, no force, and always err on the side of caution, because you are dealing with dogs and food. Alright, I hope that helps, and we'll see you for the next one.